It's time to answer the question. Are there wookalars in the Black Hills?
There's no such thing as a wookalar.
You know, they said somebody down in Auburn Corners came face to face with one. Ugliest thing he ever saw. Said it had a face like a pig, big snoot, two tusks coming up like that. Pig.
I love that movie. Hey everybody, it's Tristan Ahmed with Mindful Living Realty, a realtor right here in Rapid City, South Dakota. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I talk everything about moving to Rapid City and the Black Hills. So today we're going to answer some of your questions about the animals, the wildlife, what you can expect in the Black Hills. So let's answer the question. Are there bears in the Black Hills? But before we talk about some of the potentially dangerous animals of the Black Hills, let's talk about some of the wildlife you may or may not see during your visit to the Black Hills. The first one is very common, and that is deer. You'll see muleys, you'll see whitetails, you'll see little bambies, you'll see bucks with great antlers. Just be careful driving across the Black Hills Road, especially in that evening hour, because they like to cross the road, so make sure you keep an eye out for those deer during those times. Some of the Black Hills residents consider these deer a nuisance. So if you happen to buy a property in the Black Hills or in the foothills of Rapid City, you'll need to make sure, especially if you're a gardener, that you put lots of high fences up around your gardens. Because if you don't, those deer like to come in and they help themselves. A lot of the deer in Rapid City are so used to people. When you drive by 6 feet away from them, they'll just look up at you, wink, kinda, go back to eating. The other animal you see quite a bit in the Black Hills is wild turkeys. You'll see them gobbling together in their groups. Some of them get pretty big and you'll get a chance to see them and hear them as they're wandering through the Black Hills. Some Black Hills residents even feed the turkeys and the deer, and they show up to their yard every day. If you're lucky, driving out along Highway 44 into the Black Hills, you may see some big horned sheep along the road. If you're even luckier, right on Mount Rushmore is a lot of where these guys usually hang out is the mountain goats. You'll see the white goats hanging out on the cliffs, just hanging out there, stand on this little tiny ledge right near the rocks of Mount Rushmore. If you're in the southern hills, you might see the herd of elk that are known to cross through the southern hills at times. Again, that's if you're lucky. One of the more popular animals you'll see in Custer State Park's wildlife loop is the burros. These cute little furry animals, they'll come to your window, they'll put your head in your window looking for things to eat. Great moments for pictures and just enjoying the burros playing in Custer State Park. The other animals you'll see in Custer State Park and Wind Cave National Park are the prairie dogs. It's amazing to watch them communicate and run in their holes and pop up here, there, and everywhere and set up attention. Prairie dogs in the Black Hills. You also see a lot of prairie dogs in Devil's Tower, which is about 2.5 hours away from us in Wyoming. And as you're traveling around the Black Hills, especially in the prairies surrounding the Black Hills, you'll see a lot of pronghorn antelope running and hopping and skipping. Finally, you'll see a lot of smaller rodent-type animals around the Black Hills and in Rapid City. We've seen beavers at Canyon Lake Park, little marmots at Sylvan Lake, rabbits in our backyard, and of course chipmunks and squirrels all over the place. Now, what about dangerous animals in the Black Hills? I know a lot of you ask the question, okay, if I go for a hike, if I go for a camping trip, do I need to have bear spray? Do I need to pack up all my food in a container? What do I need to do in that scenario? What am I concerned about as far as hiking and being out into the Black Hills? Now, if you are camping in the Black Hills, we don't usually put away all of our stuff, but make sure, of course, that you put your food in the car, or at least have it tightly covered, because if you don't, you will probably attract the raccoons, the possums, the squirrels, those kind of creatures that'll come at night and take advantage of the food that you have for everybody else, because hey, they're hungry. So let's talk about one of the most dangerous animals in the Black Hills. That is, believe it or not, the buffalo. Now, I know when you're driving down Wildlife Loop, you see them, they're just hanging out in the field, they're crossing the road, they're pretty much seeming to ignore you, but they move fast and they are big. Last year we had a lady get off the back of the bike to approach the buffalo to try to get a closer picture. That buffalo charged her, ended up catching her in her pants, swung her around for a while, and dropped her unconscious as he took off. So make sure you stay in your vehicles. You'll see signs all over the place, and us local people really give tourists a bad time when they get away from the vehicle and look to approach the buffalo. The buffalo are amazing to watch. They're great to take pictures of, but just don't approach them, because they are still wild in their atmosphere. You also see a few buffalo herds that are being raised by ranchers in the Black Hills area. The second animal to be watching out for, and this is probably the most poisonous in our area, is the rattlesnake. This will be the only snake that actually is poisonous. We have garter snakes, we've had bull snakes. Those aren't poisonous by any means. They'll definitely scare you when you see them along the way. But rattlesnakes are the ones to be watching out for. And they're mostly going to hang out in really warm, dry places along a trail or up on top of rocks. In all my exploring of the Black Hills, I've actually never come across one, but I have seen posts where people have said, hey, watch out for rattlesnakes. They've been in the grass, they've been over here. So be wary of the rattlesnakes, because those are the one thing that are really poisonous in the Black Hills to be concerned about. The third animal we should discuss is mountain lions. Yes, there are mountain lions in the hills. You probably aren't going to see them. In fact, they probably aren't even going to make themselves known to you unless they're really, really hungry. Generally speaking, they're hanging out by themselves, away from the crowds and away from the people. So your more popular tourist attractions, you probably won't have a chance to see them. But if you're hiking by yourself in the wilderness, all by yourself, just keep an eye out for them. So now we answer the question, are there bears in the Black Hills? And a couple years ago, I would have said, nope, no bears in the Black Hills, unless, of course, you go through bear country, which we'll talk about that later. But lately, there have been sightings of some black bears running around the Black Hills, definitely more than a few, according to the experts. But they're not in a stage right now where they're causing any danger. Right now, they're on the just finding food, the playful type stage right now. So they're nothing to really worry about. But if you happen to see a bear in the middle of the woods somewhere, yeah, don't approach it. Don't go play with its cub. Be smart, people. And finally, off in the distance, you may hear some coyotes. Again, I've never seen one. I've never been approached by one. So they are there, but chances are they're not going to be bothering you because they're off keeping away from you. And so my lawyer wife just told me, you probably should say something regarding all the information you just put out there about dangerous animals and what they do and don't do and what they attack and don't. You should do your own research, but this is from my experience. Disclaimer noted. All right, now let's talk about the birdies of the Black Hills. I love the songbirds. You'll see a lot of them in the Black Hills area, especially robins. We've had some red-winged blackbirds lately, bluebird. I've also seen the little yellow finches, crows, doves, sparrows, all sorts of different kind of birds flying through the air. If you're around water, you'll definitely see a good collection of ducks and geese. It's fun to watch the little ducklings and little geese during the spring follow their mother around. You'll see a lot of these birds at Canyon Lake, and even when we were boating on Pactola Lake, they like to hang around the boats because they know, these kids and these families, they'll probably throw some food out. So you definitely see a lot of waterfowl in the lakes in the Black Hills area. You'll also see plenty of raptor-type birds flying around, falcons, hawks, and if you're lucky, you'll see bald eagles. We've seen bald eagles around Nema Road, on Pactola Lake. If you're in the right spot, you can get a chance to see them at the right moment. We've also seen a crane or two hanging out in Canyon Lake, Pactola Lake, and other waterways in the Black Hills. And of course, South Dakota is an agricultural state. So you're going to see a lot of livestock in and around the Black Hills area. Cows, horses, sheep, goats. You even see some alpacas every once in a while. Of course, then also you have your love of cats and dogs in our area. So you'll see plenty of domesticated animals and farm animals in your touring around Black Hills and the areas around. And this seemed like the perfect video to talk about the bugs. I mean, not really animals, but let's just talk about the bugs in the Rapid City and Black Hills area. First one I know is on your mind is, hey, what about them damn mosquitoes? So fortunately, our mosquitoes aren't as bad as other places. So as I mentioned before, I grew up in southwest corner of Minnesota. It's very humid over there. The mosquitoes were crazy. And my parents were from Malta, Montana, and the mosquitoes up there were legendary. Now here in the Rapid City and the Black Hills area, we have less humidity, so our mosquito population isn't as bad. The past few evenings I've been able to sit out on my deck without any bug spray, without any candles blowing, and haven't had too many problems with any mosquitoes. Now, they are there, they're around, and some years are worse than others. For example, 2019, we had all the water, we had standing water everywhere. So of course, the mosquito population then was a lot worse than it is in this year when it's considerably drier year. And of course, if you go walking by Rapid Creek, you'll definitely find more mosquitoes there than you were possibly in your backyard. So they're definitely out there, but they're just not as bad as other places. I'm talking to you, Eastern South Dakota. The other thing that we've noticed, especially more this year, is wasps. They'll come up and they'll put the nest in the soffit of your house, and they'll be flying around. We haven't had any wasp bites. It hasn't been too bad, just really more of an annoyance of all the wasps flying around the property. What about spiders? And there's another good reason to live in the cold north. We don't have a lot of big, nasty, poisonous spiders. Our worst spider that I'm aware of is the black widow. But as long as you're not crawling underneath homes and in crawl spaces all the time, you're probably not going to see a whole lot of spiders run around or be meeting up with them. A lot of people have their homes bug bombed for spiders, and when you're walking through the hills and through some trails, sometimes you'll have to go through some spider webs, but nothing to the extent of being concerned about huge spiders crawling up your skin and biting you to death. And then of course we have our general bugs that are just kind of annoying. Millers, crickets, grasshoppers, box elder bugs. And each year seems to be a little different. One year we had a really bad box elder bug plague, shall we call it, in September, where it seemed like the buildings were kind of half covered with box elder bugs. This year we seem to have a lot of millers wandering around. Every year is usually a little bit different about what bugs we have kind of flying around or being around. But in general, it's the annoyance thing, of course, unless you're a farmer in the Black Hills and, those grasshoppers are eating up your crops. And what about fish? Fishing is very popular in the Black Hills along the lakes, streams, and rivers. Here in the Black Hills, you'll find a lot of trout, walleye, perch, northern, and some crappies. If fish and fishing is your thing, there are a number of fish and fry campgrounds. Plus, go up to Spearfish to the DC Booth Historic Fish Hatchery. There you can not only feed the fish from above, but also see them below in their underwater tank. Then you can also check out the Fish Hatchery Museum, Fish Hatchery Boat Number 39, the rail car, and the beautiful grounds, and the free attraction in the DC Booth Fish Hatchery in Spearfish. The other place to check out is Outdoor Campus West in Rapid City. This is an educational facility operated by the South Dakota Game, Fish, and Parks Department. It has numerous displays of western South Dakota habitats and wildlife, and a 4,600-gallon aquarium where you can go underneath and watch the fish through the glass. Where are the best places to go if you're wanting to see animals and wildlife in the Black Hills? Well, of course, you can start out with Bear Country. This is a drive-through wildlife park that includes not only bears, but also a lot of different animals and wildlife. The main feature is the end, where you see the babies, where you see the baby bears playing, the baby otters. A lot of fun at the end. Walk around and see all the baby animals playing in their habitats. If birds and reptiles are your thing, definitely check out Reptile Gardens. Even if birds and reptiles aren't your thing, check it out. It's got an amazing display of crocodiles, reptiles, beautiful birds. There's even the giant old tortoise that you can pet and take pictures next to. If you're looking for the petting zoo experience, Old McDonald's Farm on Highway 16 takes care of that for you. Here you can see and pet the majority of your farm animals, with the main feature being the goats running across the bridge from one spot to another. And finally, the Wildlife Loop in Custer State Park, which I mentioned before. It's always better to go in the morning or a little bit later in the afternoon when the animals are a little more prone to be up and about and walking about. There you'll see the buffaloes in the road, you'll see the burros, you'll see deer, you'll see antelope, you might even see some elk down there. It is one of the best wildlife drives here in the Black Hills. Now I know I've just touched the surface of the many animals that are hanging around in the Black Hills that are fun to watch, ones to be wary of, ones to take pictures of, ones to listen to. I did find this brochure online, South Dakota Wildlife, put out by the South Dakota Department of Game, Fish, and Parks. I'll put that link below so you can check this out. It's a cool little brochure talking about the different animals around South Dakota with even a little tiny picture so you can kind of identify them. I love the wildlife and animals in the Black Hills. I love to see it when we're hiking and walking and camping. And I'm sure that you will too. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Have an amazing day. And remember, love where you live.
Bum bum ba da da ba bum ba ba da 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 dum bum bum bum.